being ordinary, and the alchemy of your perception to be yourself with others. So we are going to have some of our lovely episodes on YouTube, but for our TikTokers who might not be on YouTube, let me start with the lovely card of being ordinary, which came out for all of those who you love cards, oracle cards. This is what it looks like, and the shine and glare don't help, but there's a whole story. However, I'm just going to use the human story. Get to be yourself. That's easy for functional adults. It's not easy for those who have a distorted perception of their own child self and of the world because of their own potential child and developmental trauma, trust breaks, and so on and so forth. So the adaptive child pattern behavior and or maladaptive, first they get to go and reclaim their self. When they reclaim their self, they reclaim their perception, and in that they will know that it supports our natural curiosity, moving us beyond our comfort zone to find the edges of what we perceive as real and to take a good, hard, deep look at it. But we know that what is real, there's a lot of subjective, because sensations, images come up, our background. So the alchemy activates our magical, which is not so magic, meaning that where you're thinking things and feeling things. So you're the one who gets to be self-aware, accountable, and regulate with the restorative embodiment self here at IHP. That's why we do mindfulness, mindsight, and mindset. So you get to keep on bringing forth your social engagement system. And actively healing trauma one person at a time and one relationship at a time is because functional adults share with each other the capacity to be safe haven, secure bases. So we're not trauma bonding or doing codependent type things, or not. We're actively being ourselves. Okay, and we can actively understand if somebody doesn't have this possibility. So when somebody says, no, how dare people want ordinary to be something that is looked at with a way of saying it's what we are. Okay, so the ones who highlight that they want differences, well, they want differences because they were not taught. I was taught that differences don't mean that we're better or worse, that we're heard. And so I have strengths and you have strengths. I have weaknesses and you have weaknesses, which is why it's ordinary for me to say, hey, can you do that math equation for me? Because I really don't understand it. Hey, can you reach that thing on top of the... I'm short. I'm like really short. I can't, even though my hair might make me look like I get taller, but that's actually on purpose so I can seem taller. Okay, so activates our magical ability and remembrance of the magic that we all hold inside. So I know you have a 1-year-old and I have a 1-year-old. And like the Billy Joel song, The River of Dreams, I've been walking in searching for that something sacred that was lost. And that's the same thing that you'll hear Sadhguru say, spirituality and that spiritual stuff, you're seeking something, but it's not about looking up or down. This is where the people who don't like the ordinary, who want us to look up, because see, if they want you to look up, they don't have healthy self-worth. They're actively wanting you to subject yourself to the shame button, which is where they are at. That's why they look up. If you look up or you look down, means you don't know your own healthy sense of self-worth, that we are all contributing, and that some of us might not do the best of job, but if we're nurtured and given the opportunity, which is why determined is important. It's also why we will say there's no inherently good or evil. The smart human beings, the ones who want a story, well, they want a story so that they can basically make up for whatever shame button and their background. That's why their alchemy is actively with a fear-mongering God. With a lot of humans are not kind. Yes, there's unkindness. We use words here too. I use a lot of words. They don't mean I'm going to cast a stone. And you will notice the difference if your ears are open, because you're an authentic person. So you are ordinary, with clairs or without. It's also why you'll notice a fake divine feminine. A fake-o is I'm special. I feel more deeply. And they're not fake because they're fake. They actively could use a good therapist so that they can expand their window of tolerance. Because the minute that you feel deeply, and it's sadness, or it's what is called disgust, anger, fear, surprise, happiness, those 6 you would know about them as a child does, that was not fear-mongered and that has secure attachment, healthy self-worth, and an inner child that didn't get ruptured as I got to grow up. I'm comfortable with all the emotions. That's why they're not laundry. Okay, so being ordinary is what this is. Clairs, they're not special. In fact, science explains what clairs are. Doesn't take away our faith or our relationship. No. This is the part where I am a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, and that's why you do spiritual and secular self-help, meaning if you don't believe in it, I'm not going to say you have to. When people say, I don't believe in Reiki, Maria, I say, well, you haven't had the experience, so one, that's fair and square. Two, I get it. You don't believe in it because it's energy and it's invisible. And like with distance healing, I don't believe if you can do it from far, and if I'm part of the same energy, I can do it. Yes, you can do it too actively. So yes, you don't need me. And this is what a being ordinary, when you hear the episode later when it comes out, I read to you what the card says. A mother, an actual feminine nurturer, will say, I will nurture you to know you're beautiful just the way you are. The ones who reject this are the same ones who have a shame button, and they have a blame button, and they have a revenge, and they have a fault, and it's not anything of a Lucifer. Nope, it's simply put a person who didn't grow up in a environment where they were lovingly accepted, told that they don't have to work for love as they got older, and then that they can have all those 6 basic human emotions without being ashamed of them, so that they can be vulnerable in the fetal position and not be fear-mongered. It's very sad when you break it down to the fact that anyone who has not a depth of relationship with all of their emotional planes. Now, let me remind you, I come from a home that has a foundation in the Neapolitan Southern Italian way. So we yell and we get passionate, and you see things not flying, but sometimes it could be, but it's a whole culture. So there's a whole culture behind it, which is why I know when they did this commercial in America, is a bad commercial. The one of ice cream, they had a couple fighting. They were in their sympathetic. They were not actively being passionate. There's a different tone for passionate. And you will notice, because you will be accustomed to it and familiar, also because your nervous system is what dictates your tone. Stephen Porges talks all about it. So you'll know if it's a sympathetic versus I'm in my eustress, social engagement system, passionately with my culture, yelling. In fact, I have a couple, they're friends of mine. The first time I went out, it was a foursome, right? So we were all on dates, and they were like just at it. And I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to last? They're married. And they actively still have those passionate interactions. I just hadn't ever seen it. And I was like, also, well, they were using words that I wouldn't use with my partner or partners, because, yeah, I like to get excited and curse and all that to tell stories, but I won't in your face call you names as we're passionately getting into discussion. I mean, I might say, you're a stupid asshole. You know that? So then again, but they were using a lot of different words. They were having a disagreement, a very heated one. But again, they are into passion as the lovely Southerners, and they respect each other. And they have similar ways of thinking. So they're together. It's been, I don't even know how many years, happy. So there are happy couples, monoamory, polyamory too. Okay, remember that. I know some of love doesn't last. Yeah, that's for the people who have this story. But let me finish up here. So the frequency of alchemy activates our magical ability and remembrance of the magic that we hold inside. All of us do when we are whole. So you can get to your secure attachment with a good therapist, and then with people too, obviously. And that's really great. So here we heal trauma one person at a time, one relationship at a time, when we continue doing mindfulness, mindsight, and mindset practices together. And we hear stories, and I get to be funny. Each one of us has the potential to access the ancient knowledge that allowed the true alchemists to perform the miracles of transmutation, which is really fun. So as a 5D mystic, what I can tell you is that our clairs and our divine masculines and our divine feminines, we have more fun. Our oversoul actively expands, not diminishes. The divine feminine is unimpressed, I will say, by masculines. Divine or not divine doesn't matter, as long as they don't claim their own divine feminine. So that being ordinary is cool and dandy. So being their self, we will be unimpressed, because they will actively have a bunch of stuff going on. I leave it alone, because the adaptive child, they like to have other types of relationships. We like to have authenticity. So open communication, passionate, and we get, you're a shit, no, you're a shit, oh, we're all shits. And basically, we unconditionally love each other. So that is the beauty of authentic functional adults. And we get to talk about politics and religion and like interesting, intellectually stimulating conversations. We don't have to be on the same side at all, actively, not even close. But we're emotionally, mentally deep, so we don't hide ourselves. And we're physically, definitely, I want to hug, I want to be around you, I want to talk all the time. consistently. We don't get confused. So tune in for more. Like, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.